So,
I don't know.
so okay, let's continue from here. We talked about what was your experience with meeting in person
Mm,
with Dan Lok, with
mm,
having hangout with like-minded people, and
mm.
then I asked you about your perspective into the future of growing your services and your business. Uh, what are
Right.
your ideas about this?
So for me personally, I'm currently working with a consultant in business. For our relationship, I have no idea how long it's going to last. On top of that, I'm actually working with another group of closers, and we want to make a sales agency in which we help particularly health coaches, life coaches, transformational coaches, any kind of coach. We want to help them do the whole sales process, as in help them build a good lead generator, help them a little bit with their marketing, and also handle their sales. We want to build something like that. That's still in the works.
Yep.
Uh, in terms of outgrowth in general for the whole industry, I think specialists are going to be much more in demand versus a generalist. As a specializer, you're more likely to have more particular knowledge toward an industry, and that's going to be more sought after in the future as being very
Mhm.
niche oriented.
Yep.
Mm.
So basically, you have some plans for expanding this with partnering with other high ticket closers, and
Mm.
actually, as an agency model, you can reach much more influencers at scale and find the right partnerships, because you know that this is a game of numbers, and if you have more leads coming in front of your door, you will be able to convert more of them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what is your perceived understanding of the current situation with how much the coaches and consultants are willing to pay for such high ticket closing services?
Mm.
Because
That's
I believe that this 10 percentage is not fair. It's way too small for the skills that you are bringing to the table. And I'm not very familiar with the current situation, but I would like to know: are there people who are willing to pay more for such kind of services?
again, it comes down to it depends where you're looking.
Because in affiliate marketing, you can have 50, 60, even more percentage of the deal. Of course, these are very low end products, but you can have very big percentage as an affiliate marketer. Why
Mm.
not having such a deal with influencers?
There's such a wide array of coaches and consultants, and it really does depend, because there are some very small businesses, small coaches that do very well for themselves, and maybe they want to hire maybe one or max two closers because they want to make it very personal, versus people like Tony Robbins in a very big industry. He's reaching millions of people, and as such, you require a larger scale set of closers or salespeople to help them get more revenue. So it really depends where you're looking, and it depends how far you're expanding. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be the top, right? Like the Tony Robbins of coaching. There's going to be, middle ground, like
Yeah,
somewhat
maybe
well
Tony
known.
Robbins has hundreds, if not 1,000 closers.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It really depends on how much they want to scale, because not everybody wants to be a big time coach. They want to be more specific to smaller groups of people, more localized, and that's okay. So it really depends, because it just depends. There's so many factors, there's so many variables in this. It's really hard to pinpoint, where's it going to go in the future. But for the most part, what I see happening is, especially in coaching, it's going to be harder for many coaches to stay in business, because it's booming. Coaching is booming. Everybody is trying to become, certified to be a life coach or a health coach or some sort of business coach or, anything in between that.
Mhm.
So at that point, it becomes about who is giving the most value, who is getting their name out there in the marketplace, who is offering the most amount of transformation and change for their service. And ultimately, it comes down to who can really differentiate themselves from everybody else.
And who
And that,
has the best processes in their sales? Actually, this is also making a difference.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it can go anywhere, really. It can go anywhere. Anybody can step up and say, I'm going to be one of the best life coaches in the world. And in a matter of a couple of years, maybe even months, they can size up really well. And from that point on, closers that are actually interested in coaching may pursue that as their niche. So
Yeah.
there's it's so open to possibilities. It's hard
Yeah,
to say.
absolutely. So as a specialist in closing, actually you have the most important skill if someday you want to build your own product or your own coaching and consulting services. Many I see many specialists in closing pursue this kind of direction in their businesses.
Hmm.
So, from your perspective, uh, you have some noises in the interaction.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm getting another call.
Yeah,
I'm ignoring that.
no problem. So, from your perspective, you can have better deals than this 10 percentage on a closing sale. Are you finding better deals in coaching and consulting space? Of course, it depends on the volume and more better prepared coaches and consultants at a higher level of volume of clients probably will give a higher percentage, or even they have closing teams that are on salary in their sales departments. I have a close look at what the Grant Cardone sales department look like. It's full-time employees there, actually close to 100 people working. So it depends a lot, but from your perspective, uh, do you do you have the opportunity to meet people that have the capacity to accept such services at higher level?
Have I met or are there?
Are there, and have you made the connections with some of this kind of people? We of course know that they are highly sophisticated coaches who need a lot of services. I'm constantly asked by some people about marketing services, but we are not agency, so we refuse this kind of deal. So I know there are such people, but are they easily accessible? I have some friends that already hire one or two closers. Most time, even if they have hundreds and thousands of leads per month, they still prefer to have only one high ticket closer because they believe they can manage this thing out.
Mm, fair enough for them. I mean, if they believe that one's enough for 1,000 leads, I mean, the ratio is really vast. But I mean, it's their decision. But at the end of the day, I would assess, what's your capacity? How many clients can you handle? And how many, like, even if you close all those leads, how is that going to work into your business? Like, how do you coach them all? It's very dependent on the person itself. And to answer your question, in terms of how do you find, or like, have I been finding these bigger names with bigger packages? They exist, but it turns out that people with higher end packages with a bigger name are harder to access. And that's why networking is so important, because when you network, you can connect with people that they know that they're close to. And when you build good relationships with them, it becomes easier to I wouldn't say access them, but
Yeah,
it's
get
easier for you to convince
introduced
them in some
them.
way. Yeah. So networking on that behalf is very important. It's really important to network and find people. And even if in the immediate future you don't work with them, I mean, there's always later in the future. There's always next year, next month, even. It depends.
Yeah.
Everything really depends. I always use that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
There's so many variables.
Yeah, but the opportunities are there, and we only have to catch them.
It's
Uh,
abundant.
yeah, and one of my last questions will be on these directions. How do you think the name of closers and salespersons can be cleared of all these uh, previous long-term uh, enhanced negative uh, things that still persist in the people's mind? And I can fairly say that they are still there because a lot of closers did it the wrong way up until recently. Even I have encountered with such persons talking on the phone, and they were so intense trying to make the deal. Probably they were taught this way. They have this education, but this was totally wrong, and then it leave the feeling. Also, many industries, because I worked for several years in related to investments fields, and I know that there are some fields of investment business that they use totally wrong practices, close to total fraud, and trying to persuade people to invest in some BS investment products. And this is also very very negative weight on the on the entire field. So this should be
Hmm.
clear. But do you think there are proper ways to be done? Probably you will have to prepare with other like-minded people an association of high ticket closers or something like that, to educate people that this is an ethical profession. What do you think in this direction?
So if I got this right, you're asking how will the closer's appearance be different from that of a salesperson?
Uh,
That
Not only how to differentiate from the salesperson, but how to clear the entire industry of salespersons and closers, because they're closely related. Actually, closer and salesperson, not exactly the same, but they are very similar.
mm-hmm. So it's kind of like this. A salesperson, we're expected that they will do things like prospecting, farming leads, generating cold calls, converting inbound calls, things like that.
Mhm.
And that's a very general title. Those are general responsibilities.
Mhm.
Versus a closer is very specialized. He specializes solely in handling inbound calls or even outbound with warm leads. That's his specialty.
Mhm.
So what's going to end up happening is there's going to be even more specialties. If you want to do cold calling, you hire an appointment setter. If you want to have a prospector, do lead generation. If you want to create more in between, then you can specialize that as well. But a salesperson is a very general title. A
Mhm.
closer is very specific.
Yeah, actually, this is very very specific role in the sales process. The
Exactly.
closer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this is the final phase of contacting and convincing the lead into becoming a client. And
Mm-hmm.
the other question I came across is because I hear this many times that mm, following up with leads is very important in this
Mm.
process. As a closer, what is your look at this process? Do you need follow up, or you believe that you have a one chance to do you incorporate follow ups with leads in your procedure?
Yes. follow-ups are important because because again, it's not just about leads. When we think leads, it's very quantitative. But the truth is, you're dealing with people. And let's say you're on the phone with somebody and maybe they don't want to do it right now. Maybe they need time. Ultimately, when it comes to follow-ups, you're simply fostering a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
The follow-ups are a good way to let them know that you're thinking about them. Follow-ups are a good way to show that you're still thinking about them. Of course, they may think to themselves, oh, you just want the sale from me. That's all you really want. Because people still have that mentality like, oh, you're just waiting to sell me on something. But ultimately, it comes down to this. If the company and the closer build a good relationship and it comes out of a genuine compassion for them, follow-ups are essential to keep that relationship strong and to keep it developing. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. So in the long run, this helps a lot in increasing the percentage of successful deals closed. And
In the long run.
yeah, and as well, if you follow up with these people, actually you know them better and can to see them with them better on the second or third call with them. So actually, yeah, some people lose in this respect if they decide to stop the connection after the first time that they are not succeeded. But many times people are just very busy. They may be driving or or having an important dinner, and you connected them at this time, and it's totally important. Also, I heard this story that can't remember who was the name, but somebody decided to send gifts and presents to his warm leads. And
that's smart. That's really smart.
Send them gifts once, then again in a few months, again and again. And after probably several months, they started calling him and asking him for working together and for for his services. So this is also some very interesting. Probably there are other ways to be creative in this field.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you know some ways to make the call more interactive, more creative, and yeah, because the sales call is a sales call. Probably you just ask the people, "Are you ready to buy? Do you want our services? You know what you need." Is there other way to be done?
At the end of the day, what you really want is a connection with the prospect.
Yeah.
So the best way to make it interactive is to learn about them. Learn about your prospect and what they're going through and why do they want what you have? What's it going to do for them?
Actually,
and naturally they'll be open to it. Naturally they're going to share more and they're going to love talking to you. That is, if you're a good closer.
Yeah.
That's it. Again, it's communication. How you communicate with them. That's really the core of it in sales, is how do you communicate with people.
Yeah, that's the most important, and being totally honest with them about what you are offering. All these things like countdown timers, finishing offers, and so on and so forth. They really worked in the past or work with low educated people, but they are not the way we should do business in 21st century. And yeah, with that said, I think we have much better look at what closing profession look like now on. And I really would like to give you my best wishes and best wishes for your success in the future. I see you are highly dedicated. This is your the most important and one direction in your business and life that you are doing right now. So I believe you will have amazing 2019. And
Thank you.
yeah, and of course, I'm inviting you to present your stuff, your knowledge inside our community. That I'm hopefully it will grow a lot faster next couple of months. So you will have bigger audience, and of course, probably you have strategy to connect with people. Facebook and internet in general has limitless opportunities to present yourself in front of important people. So
Mhm.
I'm wishing you great success, and I hope we will talk once again next year, and you will tell us what's the new things, what you learned, and what your experience in this very highly developed and continuously changed field of high ticket closing and with your business. Thank you very much, Prasant, and
Thank
have
you, Claudia.
a wonderful weekend.
You
Hopefully,
too.
yeah, maybe next week the recording will be online.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Julio. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.